Hey, it's Jarwa again. Gonna test the floating base. Give myself some levels here first. So I guess I need to do more than that. Just to try to get game stage up, because it was 9, so 325. And this is the small version of the floating base, making while discussing with Wii. I think I loaded them all. Yeah, so 12 dart traps. They're all loaded with, slightly under 500 darts. Doesn't really particularly matter. Love that they haven't fixed that bug yet. Let's see. I can't believe I'm still cold. All this nonsense. Okay, so what we're gonna do here. Okay. There they are. See, come up to the center platform. They do almost immediately decide that this is not a valid path. They go back to a pillar. You can see there is the occasional attack. Yeah, you can see that block is taking damage. They are coming up here, and like I told Vidui, I think part of the problem is that you need to clear this platform pretty aggressively, because they count as obstructions, and you can see they are definitely now over there under that pillar. Usually that's what you want. You want them to run over under a pillar and then come back to the middle. I wonder if I could avoid them stacking under a pillar like that if I myself just make sure not to sit still too long. Because I do see that is them deciding that there's no path over here, so they're in their tantrum mode. But ideally you want them to reset out of that. It seems like some are and some aren't. Wonder what I can do about that. They definitely, I mean, getting most of them up here, and most of them are behaving the way I want, but when they do get a couple stuck under a pillar, seems like that just, they don't come back out of that routine, they get stuck in a loop. Now granted, with a gun or a crossbow or something, you could just sit there and figure out which pillar they've gotten stuck under, because you can see once I thin them out, they stop doing that. So it's definitely related to too many of them being stuck. It's probably because they're up here too long. When they stand up here too long, the path is no longer valid, and they don't reset. See, like that guy, gonna run over there. He's gonna go, oh, okay, never mind, this path is open. He runs back up top. So as long as the dart traps are doing their work, they run off, they see this path is open, they reset, they come back over here without doing damage to the pillar. Now I know I've lost one, it's probably that one, maybe that one, but I always want to make sure that you've got enough redundant structure. See, they're starting to bunch up again, but as long as you can get them to unbunch, then they seem to leave the pillars alone. And it is just, it's killing the hell out of them. I mean, the body's falling off the top here. It's just putting in work. And this is on 16 spawns. I didn't go higher because of this same problem. You'd just get a bunch of them blocking each other's path. They'd all be over under a pillar destroying stuff instead. If anything, I think this design, and I mentioned this in my last video, I think this design would work better one bigger. One further out on each side would let you do a 5x5 center platform, it would let you do more darts, it would let you stay off that edge if you wanted to. It doesn't actually seem like it's necessary. They're not turning around and attacking that. But it would just be a matter of getting this center platform to be even bigger, so less of them think that the path is obstructed. Because they're definitely going to take these pillars down if they don't think they have somewhere else valid to go. See, they all run right to a pillar, but then they come back up here as soon as the path opens. And they do a pretty good job of doing that themselves. You can see, like, the soldier didn't die from coming up here, but he comes up here, decides there's not a path, and then he runs away. But that opens the spot so that the next one comes in. And if you get too many of them under a pillar, they get stuck, it seems like. And that seems like what Bedouin was facing, is you get one or two off under a single pillar, and then the next time a zombie runs over there, they just kind of join the mob, and you end up with a whole bunch of them stuck there. You can see it's not even going to the same pillar. He's just kind of picking a random pillar. And interestingly, he is not coming back to the center for some reason. He did. But he's just ramping around this edge here. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Other than, you know, shoot him a couple times to get him up there. But like with explosive crossbow bolts, anytime you got them bunched up under a pillar, which is really the only time you'd have to do anything, a couple of explosive bolts probably fix that right away with no problems. I'm also not entirely sure if two darts firing at each other from the same distance does anything. Like if the darts hit each other instead of a zombie? I really have no clue. I mean, if so, it seems weird, but if so, you could... Sounds like one's out of darts. But you could do this design, instead of facing each other, you could have 6 on this side and say 6 on this side. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely getting the job done. And two instances of them attacking the pillars, and like I said, I heard them break. I think they broke a sheet out from underneath one of them. But this design is small enough and has enough structure that losing a single pillar is not a big deal. And looks like that is it. So, see, didn't use much gas. It does sound like we had at least one dart trap run out of darts, but they were all under 500. So we got some random. Some of this is probably just me, but you can see like this took a couple of hits. This took a hit, maybe. Really stupid. Get out of here, you stupid bird. Again, this little damage like this is probably me just shooting wild. Nothing that's really concerning, but yeah, you can see they took this plate off. So this is now hanging. This is no longer structurally sound because they broke this plate. But again, the design is, well, not plate, but sheet. These iron sheets somewhere. These iron sheets. But they're not super expensive, but they are also not super high in health. Without an upgrade, you can see they only have 1,000. The first tier is built out of scrap metal, and then the second tier requires forged iron. And then once they're upgraded, you can see they go to 2,500, which is still not that high. You can see here a little bit of damage. Very possible that's me. I mean, none of this is high enough. Like, that might be one zombie hit. These are fine and untouched, and you could see plenty of zombies were running to this corner. They weren't doing anything. That's probably me, and this sheet is untouched. And all of these are untouched. This entire column's untouched, even though you could see they were constantly running back and forth here. Now this one, yeah, see, they broke both of these. And it's interesting that it was only this orientation that they broke. I don't know why that would be. But again, repairs cheap. I mean, if that's the damage they do, that's, you know, some concrete, some scrap metal for this stuff, scrap metal for your plates, and 10 forged iron per sheet that you upgrade. And as long as you keep them from staying in one place for too long, that's going to be the only repairs. I mean, I'd say that worked out pretty well. Like I said, this is a zombie hit. A zombie definitely hit this pillar. That was when they were bunched up, and I let them sit there too long. And yeah, so that was about, it's like most of them. They were definitely coming from this side. You can tell because the traps on that side are much more empty. Get out of here. No one wants you. Really? And yeah, it looks like it's I mean, they're on the same triggers, so it makes sense that they should all have the exact same amount. What are you doing? That's cop damage right there. But again, that's all okay, so some scrap metal and some random concrete. And as far as repairs go, that's pretty much nothing. It's interesting because I thought I heard the clicking of one of them being out of ammo, but none of them are. But like I said, this is only game stage 300 and something, but you saw there were quite a bit of radiated, got some cops in there, and it scales. Really, you're loud. Go away. But it scales, I mean, ridiculously far. Because this is 12, and you could do 6 more and have 24. And then you could start doing the quarter rotated ones and have even more shooting diagonally across. Either way, just a quick test. Because Vidui is seeing some really weird stuff trying to do a design sort of like this, but much bigger. And I think the size of it is actually the problem, because the AI that I'm taking advantage of here is they want to come underneath you. So they get here, they realize there's no path from here to you, then they go to their tantrum. Tantrum looks for the nearest block they can hit. So if there's a zombie standing here, that's going to be a blocked path. They're going to run to this one instead. They're going to run over here, and in that time, the dart traps or just the zombies running around will have cleared that spot up here. So they will get here, and instead of actually tantruming, they will go, oh, now there's a path that's better again. They'll run right back up here. And they'll just keep doing that yo-yo, and every time they come up here, they take more damage, or you can shoot them, or whatever. It seems like the only failing in this is when you get a bunch of them clumped together, and then they stop. It seems like either they stop trying to repath, or simply the fact that one standing in the middle here with a zombie in all of these squares is going to see those as not being routable, because they now consider zombies an obstruction. So if there's a zombie, if there's too many zombies between them and the center platform, they won't do it, because it seems like a blocked path. And it also seemed like if they're standing here with enough zombies around them, they will consider that a blocked path, and they will just, that's when they'll start doing block damage up here. But, as we saw, both this plate and this, this sheet and this sheet were gone, which means these pillars were actually negative structure at that point. They're hanging from the structure up there, removing weight capacity rather than adding it, and the base was perfectly fine. And nothing else took any damage whatsoever. So it's almost as if leaving these two broken, yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to test that. If leaving those two broken stopped them damaging anything at all, because this is the only two that they did anything to. Either way, just a quick vid. Like I said, wanted to show the way, curious what a horde test would do.